Jeremy House reports that some states won the support of dentists after bills required higher levels of education that are still less than what a dentist requires. On the news shows this week, conservative radio host Joe Walsh guests on ABC's This Week, along with the widow of late Arizona Senator John McCain, Cindy McCain. Breaking news and analysis at townhall.com. An omen ahead of the Olympics, perhaps?
The U.S. men's basketball team has lost for the first time in nearly 13 years, falling to Australia 98-94 in a pre-World Cup exhibition game Saturday. It was the first defeat for the U.S. at a major international tournament or exhibition since the 2006 World Championship semifinals against Greece. Patrick Foss reporting.
Danny Smith threw for 3 touchdowns, ran for another, leading Villanova past Colgate 34-14 today. It was the first game of the 150th season of college football. And Minnesota beats Arizona 20-9 in the NFL exhibition matchups. Other games on tap include the Bears and the Colts. Texans visit the Cowboys. Saints and the Jets. The 49ers play the Chiefs. Broncos and the Rams. And it's the Seahawks taking on the Chargers. Check out more on these stories by logging on to townhall.com. I'm Ron DeRockstra.
Are you tired of the courts usurping your freedom? America is supposed to be a democracy, but 9 unelected justices sitting up high in Washington, D.C. are making laws which they have no right to make. Join Richard Nixon live in the Legal Lounge every Tuesday, 4 p.m. Pacific Time on CRNTalk.com. Richard Nixon's a practicing attorney and noted author, and we talk all things legal, all things constitutional from a strict constructionalist perspective. Join Richard Nixon live in the Legal Lounge every Tuesday, 4 p.m. Pacific Time on CRN Digital Talk Radio, CRNTalk.com.
Want to build your brand? Get boldly distinctive results with Catalyst Nutraceuticals. Catalyst Nutraceuticals are your full-service specialists for formulating and manufacturing. Let us handle your nutritional supplements. Let Catalyst Nutraceuticals make a difference for your product and brand. Go to catalystnutra.com, CATALYSTNUTRA.com, or call 678-641-9941.
Hi, this is Ron Sedgy, inviting you to join me for The Tonight Show of Radio every Saturday night, 9 to 11 Pacific Standard Time on CRN Digital Talk Radio. Now in our 24th year and well over 19,000 guests, The Ron Sedgy Show live originates from our Universal Radio studios. Celebrities from TV, music, movies, literature, politics, and show business, at one time or another, they all come to The Ron Sedgy Show. So why don't you?
You can try fighting the law all you want, but the law is always going to win. From politicians and celebrities to sports figures and business leaders, they're fighting the law. Now, here to sort out the nation's top legal news stories is America's favorite legal analyst, Royal Oakes. This is the Royal Oakes Show.
Robbing people with a 6-gun. I fought the law and the law won. I fought the law and the law won.
Thank you, Mike Horn and Royal Oakes Show, and welcome to our co-host Ken Jeffries. How you doing today, Ken?
Okay, we're missing somebody here.
Yes,
and I'm in the middle.
You're the man in the middle. So our millennial correspondent, Connor Oakes, is missing, but he'll be back next week. He is on special assignment, of course.
Special assignment.
As usual.
You could tell me, but then you'd have to kill me. Right?
That's right. So we have quite a list of stories to go over. I was looking at the rundown, and they go from one extreme to the other. On the one hand, very serious national import. Justice Ginsburg has pancreatic cancer. Perhaps another bruising court fight coming ahead.
Well, maybe. Although they said it didn't spread or something
right,
like that.
They're very upbeat about it.
Here we go again.
Yeah, but at the other end of the spectrum, Ken, Sean Spicer joining Dancing with the Stars. Those two stories don't belong in the same rundown, really.
I heard.
I'm not sure if Sean belongs in any rundown.
I saw a story written by Tom Bergeron, who was the host of that show.
I know.
And he was kind of taken aback that Spicer was booked. He has no say. It's a producer thing.
No, they just give him a giant check every month, so he doesn't really complain.
So maybe he'll win. I have no idea.
The show, somebody said it was on 27, 28 years. I mean, that's up there with As the World Turns and The Simpsons.
I think the first dancer may have been Gene Kelly. No, it was it's been on the air a very long time already, which shows its staying power. And
before that, didn't he also host America's Funniest Home Videos? I think.
Yeah, Bob Saget did. Bob Saget
did for a while.
And his brother, Bob Saget.
Yeah. I think that Bergeron also did that, but whatever the deal is, a long, long time. And, we were talking a little bit off the air. I'm ashamed to say, although I've probably seen a few minutes of it here and there, I'd bet the house I have not seen an entire episode of Dancing with the Stars. Have you seen much of it?
Yeah, I have, and it's...
you sound almost ashamed to admit that you've
seen it. I am ashamed. I don't...
It's a guilty pleasure. It's like...
It's kind of a guilty pleasure.
Like eating Doritos, You're not real proud of it, but every once in a while, doggone it, you got to have a pack of Doritos.
Trust me, I eat Doritos, yeah.
Well,
I'm not proud of that either.
So, okay, we're focusing on the bad end of or the unimportant end of the spectrum. Let's go back to the top, the important deal. So Justice Ginsburg, my goodness, this justice has had some bad luck. I was looking over the record. 1999, Ginsburg had surgery for colorectal cancer and 9 months of chemo and radiation. 2009, she had lung cancer surgery. Actually, that was more recent. Yeah, and now this pancreatic cancer. Now, the scary thing about pancreatic cancer is it seems like, you hear about it in connection with celebrities. I remember when Donna Reed died years ago and several others. The story on pancreatic cancer is not good. I mean,
it's kind of
usually,
I guess it's a
that's what people say, a death sentence within 6 months, 8 months. But apparently the good news is, as you were suggesting, the court announced that the doctors say they got it all. It was a malignant tumor, but they got it all, and so they're upbeat and optimistic. And she just finished, I guess, 2 or 3 weeks of radiation treatment. So hopefully she'll be fine. But my gosh, can you imagine if you think it was a bruising fight for Gorsuch, and of course the Democrats were very mad because it was the Merrick Garland seat by Obama, and the Republicans stole it.
I know.
McConnell played his parliamentary games, and what do you know? We got Gorsuch instead of Merrick Garland. That was bad enough for the Democrats, but then that was replacing Scalia, conservative for conservative. Okay, we can live with it. But when Anthony Kennedy announced his retirement, and the Republicans were able to get the guy in spite of all the allegations, Brett Kavanaugh. I mean, that really chapped the Democrats. And now, can you imagine? I mean, the Democrats are looking at the court and they're saying, okay, it's kind of 5-4 conservative, but one of the 5 conservatives is Roberts, and he doesn't always vote with the conservatives, like when he saved Obamacare twice.
Right.
So he's not a reliable conservative.
Well, the craziness is the whole thing is craziness because everyone's upset. They think that if Ginsburg passes, Trump will, put in a judge that will definitely get rid of Roe versus Wade, for instance.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
It could happen, of course.
Because you can then plug Roberts into the liberal side, and you're going to have 4 conservatives plus the new one, so you'd have a solid 5-4 conservative majority. Now, I mean, I know people are worried about Roe versus Wade going away. I find it hard to believe that even though this bloc would be conservative, and let's assume that whoever Trump gets as a third appointee is going to be pretty much in the Kavanaugh-Gorsuch mold. You really think they're just going to spit in the eye of Roe versus Wade and say, yeah, that stare decisis respecting precedent is fine as far as it goes, but this was a bad one, so we're overturning it. Would you bet money on that?
No, but they could do it.
They could, theoretically, but I mean, think of the backlash. I mean, people have relied on it since the mid-'70s. I got a feeling that Justice Ginsburg, since we know where she stands, she got into some hot water in 2016 when she went public and said, basically Trump's a creep, and then she realized, whoops, I guess I shouldn't be saying that as a sitting justice of the U.S. Supreme Court. Can you imagine, Ken, the pressure on her to stay on the job regardless of her health condition? Internal pressure by by herself, pressure external from everybody on the progressive side. Please, Ruth Ginsburg, don't even think about quitting.
What if she wants to retire? I mean, that's
not an option. I mean, really, she's 86. Do you setting aside a health crisis that would maybe force her to retire?
Crazy.
Could you see her, knowing where she stands ideologically, she's tipped her hand, could you see her quitting? Now, her husband died about 10 years ago, so she doesn't have an O'Connor thing.
I don't see her quitting, but...
you remember Sandra Day O'Connor quit because her husband had Alzheimer's, dementia, and she felt he needed her help, and that was the key thing that got her off the court. Well, Ginsburg's husband is gone, so this is her life, I would think, being on the court. She had the big friend in Scalia. They would go to the opera together. They were really close friends, even though they were ideologically poles apart. I thought that was
Ginsburg. I thought that was Ginsburg and Scalia. Am I wrong?
That's what I meant to say. Ginsburg and Scalia.
Okay, I see what you mean. Okay.
They were the friends. Anyway, so we wish her well. The doctors say, I saw a doctor on Fox saying it all depends on the severity of the pathology, how aggressive is the tumor, did it get it all?
And again, they put on doctors, and we do it in the media all the time, who have not examined the patient, and because we're not going to get those doctors to come on the air. You know, we always have to say we're going to get a doctor, so-and-so doctor of a cancer doctor who has not examined Ruth Bader Ginsburg, but he offers this opinion.
You're right, Ken. It's utterly irresponsible. It's all, and you know what's even more irresponsible is putting lawyers on radio and TV when they haven't sat through every minute of the hearing. They shouldn't be bloviating.
I was going to talk to you about that.
Well, you know, I got a life. I got other stuff to do. I can't be sitting through all these hearings, and people want to hear sound.
But you get it down. But you're one of the first guys, seriously, we've known each other, 30, 40 years already.
Long time.
And you're one of the first people I know that spoke in sound bites.
Well, I guess I learned it from Jeffrey Toobin or Neil Chayat or one of those pioneers, if I can pop my P's there. So we wish Justice Ginsburg
I want to ask you a question regarding death and all that, mortality.
Oh, I can answer 3 or 4 of those questions.
Well, because... David Koch died, if I pronounced his name correctly, one of the Koch brothers.
Yeah, because they said America has a Koch problem. Right? That's how you know to pronounce it Koch instead of Koch, because it's a little joke. The progressives said we have a Koch problem in this country, and it's David Koch and his brother and all his money.
How did you feel about some reaction on social media? Good, I'm glad he's dead, and other people are saying you shouldn't do that because number one, he's dead. I mean, you can't. I mean, he had all these billions of dollars. He didn't take it with him. Ha 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 ha. And the other side is you shouldn't speak ill of the dead.
What do you think about I'm glad you raised that because it actually ties in with the next topic I wanted to get into, which is the Iowa junior college professor who wants to hit Donald Trump in the head with a baseball bat. And what you raise is the question
of
what you raise is the question of the death of civility.
Yeah,
I
think it's really sad. I don't really like dancing on people's graves. It's.
Yeah, I agree. And when Madonna says she's been thinking about blowing up the White House, and when Johnny Depp says, an actor killed Lincoln, ha, here I am, an actor dumping on Trump, and when Kathy Griffin holds up, not with a smile on her face, but looking very glum, the bloody, Trump. Severed, fake head of Donald Trump, I think what we're facing is the death of civility. And I'm not going to make this a partisan thing. I'm not going to say it's only left-wing, socialist, progressives who do this, but I will say, for example, I don't hear anybody on the right or the extreme right saying, oh, golly, I hope that Ruth Ginsburg dies, because if she does, Donald Trump will put in somebody who will restore prayer in school and will get rid of abortion. I don't hear people saying maniacal, hateful, violent, homicidal things like that on the extreme right. I know it happens. I know there are horrible people on the extreme right. But I think right now, Ken, that the left kind of has a monopoly on people wanting to hit Trump over the head with a bat, wanting to kill him,
and so on. I
hope somebody dies. So let me get into the details about this story.
Yeah, go ahead. And I just wanted to throw it out there because it's usually you can't. For me, it's not a left, really right thing. It's a personal thing where you probably shouldn't do it.
You're right. It's a common decency thing, and I think unfortunately we've lost the sense of decency and civility.
Even though the Kochs, the brothers, have done things, whatever, but that's
you can disagree with them as violently as you want, but you don't advocate violence. So he's a college professor in Iowa. His name is Jeff Klinsman. He's an adjunct English professor at Kirkwood Community College in Cedar Rapids, Iowa. He declared his support for the violent far-left Antifa movement after coming under fire for inflammatory social media posts that included his desire to bash President Trump with a baseball bat. I mean, to me, isn't this maybe a pathology? I think it's a form of
Did he
mental...
get a visit from the Secret Service?
Yeah.
Seriously. I mean, I wonder if he did.
I bet he will. Absolutely. They'll probably interview him. But I think it's this violent, extreme reaction to people on the public scene is a pathology. It's like racists who hate blacks and who hate Jews.
Although Trump has
they are mentally screwed up.
Trump has been doing it too.
And
I'll pay for his bail and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah. I think Donald Trump veers into this. And for example, when he was at the podium during one of his rallies or several of his rallies, he would appear to sort of advocate violence against the hecklers, against the creeps in the crowd, against the media folks in the crowd.
And what he does is sometimes he doesn't egg them on. He does nothing. He will soak it in. He will step back from the podium slightly and not really smart, but he won't tell the crowd to shut up.
So he's guilty of this. I grant you that.
Okay.
But all of these people who were threatening with the baseball bats and let's burn down the White House, they too are doing this. And again, I analogize it to racists who are absolutely against blacks or Jews or whatever group they don't like. Yeah. How about, I really don't like Obama, I don't like Richard Nixon, I don't like Bill Clinton or whoever it is, but you know what? The pendulum swings. We'll get rid of this guy soon. It's not the end of the world. It's not an existential threat. How about having a little common sense and mental health as opposed to totally, having your hair on fire and your head explode? I think that's a real problem with the era.
I'm glad you brought up mental health because George Conway, Kellyanne Conway's husband, is blasting Trump, saying essentially he's mentally ill, among other things. And I did see that news conference the other day where Trump said that he is the chosen one. He later said he was joking. And I checked the tape, and he was not smiling. We talked about China, and he said, I guess when it comes to tariffs, and he looks at the sky for a second, he goes, I'm the chosen one. And that same day...
You think it was tongue-in-cheek, though? I mean, you don't think Trump seriously thinks he's been touched by God.
Well, the problem is you don't know with him. You really don't.
That's true.
And then, he retweets an article saying that he's the king of Israel and all this other kind of stuff.
He retweeted the conspiracy theory about Bill Clinton and being a pedophile with Jeffrey Epstein. So, yeah, this is Bill Clinton. This is Donald Trump's thing. The other problem,
he's joking.
The other problem with the Iowa Junior College professor, Mr. Jeffrey Klinsman, was he says, seeing what evangelical Christians are doing to this country fills me with rage and a desire to exact revenge. So he's talking about killing evangelical Christians. He says, I'd like to kill them all and bury them deep in the ground. What a swell guy. I think this guy should check himself in and get some psychiatric help. Stick with us on The Royal Oak Show.
We'll be back on CRN with The Royal Oak Show.
The widely popular book Where'd You Go, Bernadette is in theaters. What does actress Cate Blanchett say is one of her favorite relationships in the film?
There's a cataclysmic relationship that she has with her neighbour, from her perspective, a busybody parent at the school. And often the person that you have the most antagonistic relationship you have a lot in common with. And I think that's a bit of a revelation for both of them.
Where'd You Go, Bernadette, rated PG-13. Rated PG-13. For This Entertainment Answer, I'm Matt Mungle.
Looking for an intimate, romantic getaway? Escape to Maui's premier bed and breakfast, The Plantation Inn, a quiet oasis in the heart of Lahaina town. Guest rooms and suites offer Hawaiian plantation decor, combined with modern amenities, and surrounded a serene courtyard with a pool, jacuzzi, and lush tropical foliage. The inn is located just steps from Lahaina's historic Front Street for an easy stroll to museums, galleries, shops, and restaurants. Call 667-9225 or visit theplantationinn.com and plan your getaway now.
Hello, CRN listeners. I'm Michael Horn. And you've all helped build MyPillow into the amazing company that it is today. Now, Michael Lindell, the inventor and CEO of MyPillow, wants to give back to my listeners. You can get great discounts on all MyPillow products if you go to MyPillow.com right now and click on the radio listener specials. You can save up to 50% off on MyPillows, mattress toppers, bed sheets, and so much more. For example, the body pillow, normally $89.99, but with the promo code WINNER, it's only $29.99. Remember, all MyPillow products come with a 60-day money-back guarantee and a 10-year warranty. Just go to MyPillow.com, click on the radio listener specials, save up to 50% off, including the body pillow for only $29.99. Enter promo code WINNER or call 800-513-3363 for these great specials.
For the best night's sleep in the whole wide world, visit mypillow.com.
CRN listeners, when you come to Southern California, stop by a great restaurant, the Dresden Restaurant at 1760 North Vermont Avenue in Hollywood. Enjoy great entertainment, like the music of the legendary Marty and Elaine at the world-famous Dresden Restaurant. The Dresden was a location for the making of the movie Swingers. Now you can swing with stars Marty and Elaine. Plus, enjoy great food, too, like French onion soup, artichoke hearts, and many other great appetizers. Seafood, there's salmon, shrimp scampi, New Zealand orange roughy, halibut, Lake Superior whitefish, and specialties like veal, marsala, piccata, and parmigiana. Plus, we've got a great roast rack of lamb, chicken piccata, and cordon bleu, and pasta dishes, too. Steaks, filet, New York, Chateaubriand for two. Much more, too, including pork chops, prime rib of beef, and an incredibly extra large cut of prime rib. It's the Dresden Restaurant, open for lunch Monday through Saturday and dinner Monday through Sunday. Check us out at 1760 North Vermont Avenue or call 323-665-4294.
Welcome back to the Royal Oak Show with our co-host Ken Jeffries. Our millennial correspondent Connor Oakes will be back next week. Hey, hi to our pal Andy Ludlam. Looks like from Facebook he's checking in and watching.
Well, we got a bunch of people watching.
Andy has very poor judgment is the problem. He hired me at KABC and KFWB, so to hire me at all, much less at two stations. Sorry, Andy. I mean, what were you thinking? Anyway, I like to criticize our viewers.
Yeah.
Don't you think that's a good thing
former
to do?
bosses.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Well, it's easy.
Keep doing
it's
that.
smarter to criticize a former boss than a current boss, wouldn't you say?
Good point.
Yeah.
Good point.
So I got to know how you feel about topless ladies, Ken Jeffries.
Well, I'd like to keep abreast of what's going on, but that's what else would you want to know?
That's a wonderful
Besides
comment.
the cheap jokes,
and it's going to segue right into this big story. Venice Beach, for the 12th year now, they've got Go Topless Day. It's a movement that raises awareness about gender inequality. So it's Sunday, August 25, from 1 to 2:30 p.m. at 723 Oceanfront Walk.
And where's it going to be again?
It's going to be a busy spot. So Go Topless President Nadine Gary says Venice Beach used to be a nudist beach in the 70s and 80s.
That's true? Yeah. Is that true?
Would Nadine Gary, president of Go Topless, lie? I don't think so.
It's a public beach.
It used to be a nudist beach in the 70s and 80s, according to Nadine. The state of New York is a topless state legally, and California is not. Venice Beach should be a topless beach. If New York is, why shouldn't
I grew up
Beach?
in New York. I didn't know that. When we used to go to the beach in New York, there were no topless beaches.
You should have been a little more observant, Ken. It sounds so strange and so backwards. So here's the deal.
Right.
We need to decide as a society, as a California, as a sanctuary state, should we make it legal for ladies to walk around topless? Guys can walk around topless. Ken Jeffries, if you were on the beach in Venice and if you whipped your shirt off and you strode around proudly as you prepared to dash into the surf, nobody would arrest you. Now, why should women go to prison for decades? Maybe they don't get such a harsh penalty, but why should we criminalize topless ladies at Venice Beach? You tell me.
They might have a case. I mean, it's probably true.
So you would? It came to a vote. Would you vote for it?
I thought about this. If I was the chosen one, or king of the world,
like the Trumpster,
would I do that? And I guess so.
But let me ask you this.
But then my daughter would go topless. If it comes to your family, do you really want this?
But in general, you might be receptive to the idea. So let me ask you this question.
Maybe, I don't know.
What if a guy says, "I'm tired of this uptight society. I want to walk around Venice Beach with my junk hanging out"? Just like the naked guy in Berkeley. You remember years ago at Berkeley, the naked guy? He would walk through campus there into Sproul Hall, and he was wearing a backpack and sandals, and that's all. Yeah, you don't remember the story? This is 30 years ago. His nickname was the Naked Guy, and he was registered.
There's a naked cowboy in New York at Times Square. Plays
but
with
he
his guitar
wears
strapped in his
tighties,
whatever,
white briefs.
Yeah, I guess,
and a cap. And he's this buff guy and singing with his guitar. So he calls himself the Naked Cowboy.
Naked
But he ain't
Cowboy.
naked. But the naked guy at Berkeley was really naked.
Oh, at Berkeley,
yeah.
okay.
And people, folks in the geology class would complain because he'd just been sitting down.
And then you could find out he's a true leftist because it curves a little bit.
That's
to the
right.
left. Okay.
They'd need a towel, So,
a little humor there, folks.
he, of course, was arrested for public nudity. But if you can have just decided you probably would vote for women to be topless, why wouldn't you also vote for guys to walk around with their junk hanging out?
Yeah.
And take all the time you want, because
No,
I
but
think we've got about a half hour or so.
This is like a hamina, like the Jackie Gleason honeymooner. Hamina, Ralph Cramden. Hamina. I don't know. I mean, it's this is why God invented laws.
I think society has a right to draw lines in terms of morality. I think if Larry Flint comes along and says, you know what, Hustler is lagging a little bit, his whole free porn on the internet thing is really cutting into our business. I want to jumpstart our business by taking out a gigantic billboard on Sunset Boulevard. You got Mick Jagger up there for Start Me Up. He's going to have a gigantic billboard on Sunset Boulevard by Larry Flint of Hustler, and it's going to be a woman, totally gynecologically correct picture saying, go to hustler.com. It's a really swell website.
Fine, then who pays for the accidents then that are going to be, the LAPD writing up
collateral damage.
Stuff like that.
Collateral damage.
Okay.
If you're going to, aren't we going to go there if you're going to let a gal parade around topless on Venice Beach? Isn't the next step to let Larry Flint have a totally graphic picture on Sunset Boulevard where innocent rock stars are going to be shocked?
Can that mean CBS has to give back the $500,000 fine for Janet Jackson's nipple on the Super Bowl?
I don't know, but I'm glad we had this discussion because I think we've really resolved.
Yeah, we really resolved
some
a lot
very
of things.
sensitive social issues here.
Right.
Now, I think the bottom line is you just have to draw the line, and it's based on cultural mores.
Where would you like to draw the line? Here?
You want to
do it here? You want to do it here?
And the people who say there shall be no lines, we should have a totally free libertarian society, I think they're swimming upstream. They're just swimming topless.
You got to have
upstream. That's exactly right. When we come back,
you're dying to do this topic.
San Francisco values. If you're in San Francisco, you are no longer a convict or a felon. You are a justice-involved person. And so your future is going to be bright. Stick with us.
We'll be back on CRN with the Royal Oak Show. Is getting a full night's rest a struggle because your sheets won't stay in place? Do your sheets make you hot at night, causing you to toss and turn? I've been there, but not anymore. Thanks to MyPillow's Giza cotton sheets, I'm getting a full night's rest without the hassle of fixing my sheets. Giza cotton sheets by MyPillow are made with the world's best cotton. It's called Giza, Giza. It's grown only in a small area near the Mediterranean Sea. Its cotton is so super smooth and breathable, and they're extremely durable, made with deep pockets that'll fit over any bed. And just like those MyPillows we love so much, our Giza sheets are made right here in the USA with 100% machine washable and dryable cotton. Go to MyPillow.com and order your Giza sheets today and receive 30% off and free shipping when you use the promo code WINNER. That's right, free. That's MyPillow.com and promo code WINNER. Get yours today. Go to MyPillow.com, promo code WINNER. Hi, everybody. Michael Horn from CRNTalk.com. We provide you with the best in talk radio. 8 channels of talk radio, from radio on the left, radio on the right, sports talk, business talk, religious talk, Spanish talk, you name it, we've got talk radio for you. All at CRNTalk.com. Well, now we'll bring you video as well as audio. That's right. Watch your favorite shows like The Robert Conrad Show, The Fred Dreyer Program, What's Cooking Today, What's Cooking on Wine, The Lounge, and so many other shows in video right at our website, CRNTalk.com. You can also watch us on Roku. Just search CRN Talk, and you can watch us on Roku on any TV anywhere in the world. Also on Facebook Live. Go to Facebook.com/CRN Digital Talk. Facebook.com/CRN Digital Talk. Roku, search CRN Talk. Check us out on Tiki Live and at CRNTalk.com. Video for you talk fans, all from CRN Talk. CRN listeners, when you come to Southern California, stop by a great restaurant, the Dresden Restaurant at 1760 North Vermont Avenue in Hollywood. Enjoy great entertainment, like the music of the legendary Marty and Elaine at the world-famous Dresden Restaurant. that Dresden was a location for the making of the movie Swingers. Now you can swing with stars Marty and Elaine. Plus, enjoy great food, too, like French onion soup, artichoke hearts, and many other great appetizers. Seafood, there's salmon, shrimp scampi, New Zealand orange roughy, halibut, Lake Superior whitefish, and specialties like veal, marsala, piccata, and parmigiana. Plus, we've got a great roast rack of lamb, chicken piccata, and cordon bleu, and pasta dishes, too. Steaks, filet, New York, Chateaubriand for two. Much more, too, including pork chops, prime rib of beef, and an incredibly extra large cut of prime rib. It's the Dresden Restaurant, open for lunch Monday through Saturday and dinner Monday through Sunday. Check us out at 1760 North Vermont Avenue or call 323-665-4294.
Hi everyone, this is Fred Dreyer telling you about my favorite Italian restaurant. It's Angelo's and Vinci's in Fullerton, California. Angelo's and Vinci's has the best pasta, the best seafood, the best salad, spaghetti, lasagna, and the most incredible pizza. And the chicken is delicious. Marsala, piccata, cacciatore, parmigiana, and more. For desserts, try our spumoni or our tiramisu, my favorite, flown in fresh from Italy. And the cannolis and the zeppolis are out of this world. Open for lunch and dinner. And don't miss the Sunday champagne brunch, just $23.95. Are you kidding me? It's all up the road from Disneyland at 550 North Harbor Boulevard in Fullerton, California. Angelo's and Vinci's, like Michelangelo and Leonardo da Vinci. Call 714-879-4022 or visit us online at angeloandvincis.com.
Welcome back to the Royal Oak Show with our co-host Ken Jeffries. So another feedback from Andy.
Yeah, another quick shout out to our old boss Andy Ludlam, and Andy said he must have been out of your mind. He must have been out of his mind when he hired you.
Naturally,
there was a little typo in there, but it clearly was. He was clearly out of his mind, joking, of course. I think, right, Andy? And then he says, I can't unhear the part of Ken topless.
Well, you know,
I have news for you. I can't either.
It's totally legal. Ken Jeffries topless at Venice Beach is totally legal, but it's not legal for the gals. So double standard.
Yeah.
So the felons up in San Francisco, what a break they're getting. This is like a promotion. The Board of Supervisors in crime-ridden San Francisco has introduced new sanitized language for criminals, getting rid of words like offender and addict.
Yeah, I heard about that.
And they're changing convicted felon to justice-involved person.
And who is changing it? Who has authority?
The board. The Board of
The Board of Supervisors, which is their city council and the county at the city-county government. Okay.
So the local officials said the new language will help change people's views about those who commit crimes. From now on, a convicted felon or an offender released from custody will be known as formerly incarcerated person or a justice-involved person.
It's like buying a used car. It's formerly, used.
Or you'll love this one, Ken. Or just a returning resident. He's a returning resident.
It's like going back to a hotel.
Yeah. Charles Manson's gang, now that they're in their 70s,
returning residents.
They're going to be returning residents.
Oh, my.
A juvenile delinquent will now be called a young person with justice system involvement. You know, I thought a judge was a person involved in the justice system, but I guess I was wrong.
Do we know what caused them to do this, other than maybe one of the supervisors had a motion and said we want to do it?
People who used to be crooks and now they're released, and there's a taint, there's a stigma, it's hard to get jobs and so on, and I get that, but here's an idea. Why don't we double the amount of money we spend on job training for the guys while they're in the joint and after they get out? Because let's face it, the recidivism rate is nutty. It's depending on the offense, it's like 30 to 75% of the time people get out and boom, they commit crimes again. And they're injuring people, they're killing people, they're really wreaking havoc on society. So if there's any way we can reduce the rate of recidivism, we should do it. And I think we ought to take the money that we're wasting on a bunch of crap and worthless programs and spend it on helping job training to get these guys, to give them a chance. I don't think it's going to help them to give them a fancy title of a returning resident or justice-involved person, which is just idiotic political correctness.
And again, I don't know if Trump tweeted about that. It would seem something he'd want to do.
Oh, I would think he would, yeah.
But I haven't seen it yet.
I wonder if the San Francisco Board of Supervisors people really want Paul Manafort, when he gets out, if he ever gets out, to be known as just a justice-involved person, as opposed to them saying he was a damned felon who tried to ruin our country and he was a tool of Donald Trump and so on.
I don't
know. San Francisco values at work.
Just when, and I hate using terms like the left and the right because it sounds so monolithic, you know. But it's stuff like this. And maybe I'm getting conservative in my. Well, I'm not. Well, I am. Well, I'm not. No,
well, go up to San Francisco and see how you like it.
Let me waffle on this for a while,
So let's talk about the vaccine situation. It's getting ugly. We all know that Jenny McCarthy and other folks who, let's say, don't exactly have medical degrees are raising questions about vaccines, and as a result, a lot of folks listen to them. And even though the parents know absolutely nothing about the science, they are resisting vaccinating their children. And as kids go back to school now, the LA City schools are just starting up again. It's a really scary situation. You got doctors that are signing exemptions for medical reasons that don't exist. They're making them up or they're lying, and so the doctors ought to be disciplined. But here's a problem. Some of the anti-vaxxers are going nuts and behaving violently. You got Kenneth Austin Bennett, age 54, has been accused of misdemeanor assault when he shoved a California state senator who's been working to limit exemptions for childhood vaccinations. This guy Bennett, this nutcase, live streamed the confrontation on his Facebook page, which shows him shoving State Senator Richard Pan on the sidewalk.
I was going to say probably Richard Pan. And Richard Pan is a doctor, by the way.
Oh, is he? I didn't know. He's an MD?
He is a physician. My wife, who is a school nurse for LA Unified, tells me that he is. And so I thought you were going to say it was Dr. Richard. It was going to be Richard Pan, but go ahead.
So Pan, according to the video, he briefly engages Bennett. Pan is walking along, and Bennett comes up to harass him.
Didn't know this.
And they start talking, and so Senator Pan says to this guy, maybe you should study public health. The video then shows Bennett reaching out and shoving Pan in the back, while Pan laughs, launching the lawmaker several feet forward. I pushed you, Bennett says several times before walking away and saying into the camera, I probably shouldn't have done that. He then walks back toward Pan and continues speaking to him as Pan and several people he's with call the police. So Bennett says, you're a liar, and the assault that you're committing to our children is so egregious.
So police were called on that?
Yeah, police were called. So the guy, I don't know.
Because Pan is right. And Dr. Pan, and more power to Dr. Pan, by the way, because this guy is an actual doctor. He doesn't play one on TV. He's an actual doctor, and he's trying to close the loopholes for the exemptions for vaccinations.
Yeah,
and it's the right thing. A little editorializing, it's the right thing to do. Absolutely right.
And he's authored a law aimed at cracking down on the doctors who are selling fraudulent medical.
Well, not only that, but I think he was also. He may have been behind the bill that cracked down on the religious exemptions. Also, he may have done that a couple of years ago. California got rid of the religious objection thing, if I recall, a few years ago. But they had to leave the door open for medical exemptions because there are some, and there are some that are legitimate apparently, but there are some that are not. And so he wanted to crack down on that.
Yep, well, more power to him. So Chris Cuomo, CNN anchor, boy, he's getting in the news every week, not just because he has a big show, but you remember a week ago, somebody called him Fredo.
Fredo, yeah.
And so he considers that to be, for Italian Americans, equivalent to the N-word, which is kind of silly because here we are saying Fredo, 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 and nobody cares. But if we said the N-word, people would care.
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, now this week's news story about Chris Cuomo is that actually that was his brother, the governor, who did that, Andrew. So Chris Cuomo, a CNN anchor, suggested that President Trump hasn't aged as much as his predecessors because he doesn't care as much about the country's
and he said it on the air on CNN, Chris Cuomo?
Yeah.
Because his brother is the governor of New York, as you probably know. And so, okay, we want to separate the Cuomos here.
Yeah.
But he's also the same guy. He's the same guy that said that did the Fredo thing.
That's right.
So, okay.
So this week's story is now Chris Cuomo is embroiled in this controversy. He's actually saying that Trump hasn't been aging because he doesn't care. Because Trump doesn't care about the country. I thought that was kind of interesting because what Cuomo says is, look at Clinton's hair. It went white. George W. Bush looks like he got a beat down. Obama looks like his own grandfather. And yet Trump, hey, maybe, what about that picture of Dorian Gray thing? Is it possible in a closet in the White House, Ken? There's a picture of Donald Trump that's aging horribly?
About 112 years old, and I didn't hear him say that, but I just... You know what? It's like whatever.
Sounds like a bad Twilight Zone episode. Trump has a picture that isn't aging, that is aging in the White House. So another controversy, the Jussie Smollett story. This will be interesting to you, I think. It has been declared not fit for jokes. According to the co-creator of a Comedy Central show, Southside, which is set in Chicago, his name is Bashir Salahuddin. He's a former Jimmy Fallon writer. He says the whole Jussie Smollett story is a tragedy. It's unfortunate. It's not funny. Nobody should be joking about it. Which is a little odd for a guy with a Comedy Central show to be saying. I mean, let's face it, the Jussie Smollett story is sort of ripe for ridicule and jokes because of the obvious nature of this guy's fake story. Saturday Night Live did a sketch on Jussie Smollett, but in general, things have been a little quiet on the mockery front.
On the mockery, I like that. On the mockery, it sounds like something for television. On the mockery front, it's something when anchors can get serious.
Every once in a while, people who work in the comedy field decide that something is off limits. For example, you may remember when Letterman was dueling with Jay Leno over late night supremacy. All of a sudden, Leno started to take off and beat Letterman for two reasons. Number one, Letterman didn't want to do O.J. jokes. You look at Leno, and he's got the dancing Edos, and he's totally exploiting the controversy.
I didn't realize that. I'd forgotten about that. I guess he didn't want because he thought it was too serious a situation.
According to what Letterman said, and it's kind of hard to argue with this, but what he said was, quote, "I don't see anything funny about a double murder." Well, that's true. On the other hand, it doesn't stop society from telling all sorts of jokes. I mean, there was the Norm Macdonald joke that we may have talked about a few weeks ago.
I forgot it. I'm sorry.
Well, here's the deal.
I know you're a fan of his.
I love Norm Macdonald. So Norm Macdonald is emceeing the Heisman Award show several years ago, and the winner's there in the audience. He's got the wonderful award, and so Norm Macdonald says, "This is amazing. You've earned this fabulous award. Nobody can ever take the Heisman away from you unless you kill your wife and a waiter." Now,
and he said that at the New York Athletic Club, I guess, which hands out the Heisman.
Yeah. So Norm Macdonald obviously felt there was something funny about a double homicide. The other thing that Letterman
must have gone. They probably wanted to kill him,
so to speak. The other problem that Letterman had that doomed him in terms of the ratings race was Marv Alpert. Remember the sportscaster
Marv Albert,
who got in trouble with a hooker.
Well, it's about biting people, and I grew up listening to Marv Albert.
Biting the hooker on the backside.
He was Mr. Sportscaster in New York, Knicks and Rangers. He did
hugely talented,
And then he gets caught up in some weird thing with a hooker and biting a woman or something.
And Leno had a field day for weeks making fun of Marv Albert. Everybody loved the jokes. So you flip over to Letterman, not a single joke because he was a close personal friend of Marv Alpert's, and he's not about to make fun of him. Well, next thing you know, the ratings are in the toilet.
Well, I thought it was another thing, too, and it comes down to Hugh Grant. Hugh Grant was on The Tonight Show, and that was a big get.
With Leno,
Speaking of hookers, he was caught with a hooker, and Leno says to him, the one line that really saved him on the Tonight Show, I think, what were you thinking? And the audience went crazy and all of that. And from then on, you notice Leno started to go up, and Letterman either stayed the same or whatever it was.
No, it's the same phenomenon. So speaking of hilarious things, let's talk about Sean Spicer going on Dancing with the Stars. Now, we talked earlier in the show about how neither one of us is really a big watcher. Now, apparently you have watched. He
might be pretty good. He was pretty good tap dancing with the media. Thank you very much. I'm here all week.
Sean Spicer couldn't even dress himself. You remember how bad he looked? His suits were so ill-fitting, and I think that was one of the reasons.
Well, he came out, and the first thing he says was came out all PO'd at the media and said, "You're underreporting the crowds at the inauguration," and he started going crazy, which is ripe for a parody. And of course, they did it on Saturday Night Live with Melissa McCarthy playing him. And
I don't know how Sean Spicer was supposed to handle that situation because he's new on the job. The job was new. Trump was just in office literally a day. The inauguration happens. Trump apparently told him, "Go out and tell him that this was the biggest crowd, since Lincoln's inauguration." And he did it, and he told all these big fat lies, even though the pictures showed.
And I think you said Hitler didn't gas the Jews was another one.
I didn't hear that.
I think that was another one.
But the problem was, Trump has this difficult relationship with the truth, and his spokesman is supposed to repeat what the president said and defend it.
Stephanie Grisham is his spokesperson now. How many news conferences has she held? Close your eyes and what do you see?
Zippo.
Zero. Right. Trump does his own now. The gaggle in front of the the White House lawn.
Maybe it's because Trump doesn't want Jim Acosta to get any more FaceTime, any camera time.
He went after Peter Alexander of NBC, and Acosta too. I think he went after really Peter Alexander. So
Well,
you're
so do you think that's...
He said you're at NBC. You're faker than CNN, and he started doing this business.
Do you think that's one reason why they're not having formal press opportunities in the press room where the press secretary...
He gets a new press secretary, and by the way, the previous one, Sarah Sanders, just went to Fox, whatever that means.
Yeah, I saw she's going to debut like the few days after Labor Day. She's going to be on Fox and Friends in the morning. She's going to be a contributor, so that makes sense.
It's fine. I mean, she can do whatever she wants, and Fox can hire whoever. It's a private company,
I think their audience probably will like looking at Sarah and listening to her.
Can I bring? I know you're talking about Sean Spicer.
Sure.
I want to bring it in. We're getting close to the end of the show, and I wanted to bring up something else that I almost forgot this week, where Trump demanded that companies stop doing business with China or get out of China or something like that. I hereby order them to, I don't know, what was it, move or something like that. He can't order private companies to do anything.
Well, that's right, but he can throw his weight around. He can try to exercise his influence as president.
Then there was something, he tweeted last night. He says, if you don't think I can do it, you read the Presidential Powers Act of 1977, I think it was. I mean, it's nuts.
Well, I think what he's trying to do is set up a situation where he tries to cut a deal with the Chinese. But I've heard experts say the Chinese are in it for the long game, and they can read the calendar as well as we can, and they know that the polls suggest that nobody really likes Trump, and so the chance that he's going to be reelected is probably low. That's probably the sense that the Chinese have in their attitude, I'm sure, is why should we make a bad deal now when we can get a better deal from Joe Biden in a year and a half?
Well, maybe, but I'll tell you, 2016 taught me don't believe in any polls. I don't believe them yet.
So, Ken Jeffries, there's a very thrifty bride over in the UK.
So we're done with Sean Spicer now? I'm sorry.
Yeah, I think we've driven Sean Spicer into the ground. I mean, unless you really think it's going to be worth watching, if you want to tell your loyal viewers and listeners.
Our viewer, yeah.
How many times would you say, Ken Jeffries, you've watched Dancing with the Stars? Just
a few.
Best guesstimate.
So
what's the best guesstimate? Would it be more than 20 times?
They have that political. I don't know. My wife watches it, but
nothing wrong with that.
Her fault, right? No, I don't know. It's so
you probably will watch Sean Spicer. What dance do you think he would do? Would it maybe the waltz for Sean Spicer or the salsa?
The two steps, since he sidesteps reporters all the time, or he did. I don't know what.
Well, I'm not sure if I'm going to watch it because I never have, and I'm not sure I want to start now. So we do want to talk about a very thrifty newlywed in the United Kingdom. She tied the knot with her husband, Steve, earlier this month. She's 57. She bought a wedding gown for the ceremony, and she has decided she is going to wear it for a solid year. She has worn it to the grocery store, on a paddleboarding trip, while doing chores around the house. She says, doggone it, this cost me hundreds of dollars, and I'm going to get my money's worth out of it. So I think we can admire the frugal nature of this.
Was she ever on the show say yes to the dress? Another show my wife watches all the time.
When we come back, hey folks, Alexa is listening, and if you plan a crime, she may overhear you. Stick with us.
Savor the past and savor the glory days of Las Vegas. Enjoy 70 years of true Las Vegas history as 4 generations of family wait to greet you at the legendary Bootlegger Italian Bistro. Wine, dine, and experience Mama Maria's award-winning original recipes while surrounded by original family photos and celebrity memorabilia. Enjoy piano artistry nightly with music from the Great American Songbook in our main formal dining room. The Bootlegger Italian Bistro, open 24/7, 7700 Las Vegas Boulevard South, in the entertainment capital of the world. The Bootlegger Italian Bistro, open 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. 7700 Las Vegas Boulevard South, in the entertainment capital of the world. It's Vegas, baby.
This is the entertainment answer. What is our Blu-ray pick of the week? Well, it has to be Avengers Endgame. The emotional follow-up to Infinity War is now here for us to watch again, cry again, cheer again. Whether you've seen it once or a dozen times, it never loses its entertainment value. All your favorite characters are back in this one, plus tons of extras, behind-the-scenes moments. It's rated PG-13, so like all the other Marvel films, know your audience. Avengers Endgame available on DVD, Blu-ray, and digital. For this entertainment answer, I'm Matt Mungle.
Hello, CRN listeners. I'm Michael Horn. And you know, you've all helped build MyPillow into the amazing company that it is today. Now, Michael Lindell, the inventor and CEO of MyPillow, wants to give back to my listeners. You can get great discounts on all MyPillow products if you go to MyPillow.com right now and click on the radio listener specials. You can save up to 50% off on MyPillows, mattress toppers, bed sheets, and so much more. For example, the body pillow, normally $89.99, but with the promo code WINNER, it's only a pillow for only $29.99. Enter promo code WINNER or call 800-513-3363 for these great specials.
For the best night's sleep in the whole wide world, visit MyPillow.com.
Want to build your brand? Get boldly distinctive results with Catalyst Nutraceuticals. Catalyst Nutraceuticals are your full-service specialists for formulating and manufacturing. Let us handle your nutritional supplements. Let Catalyst Nutraceuticals make a difference for your product and brand. Go to catalystnutra.com, CATALYSTNUTRA.com, or call 678-641-9941.
Welcome back to the Royal Oak Show with our co-host Ken Jeffries, and we like to play this song once every show because Ken loves it. I think it's his
I love
favorite
Donna Fargo, the happiest girl in the whole USA.
Girl in the USA.
I wonder if she still is.
Who knows? Maybe she's
still alive.
Happiest senior citizen in the whole USA. So the Alexa product, here's a picture of it from the paper. It looks like a hockey puck. Alexa, you fire her up and you just ask her, oh, please, play Happiest Girl in the Whole USA for me, and boom, she'll do it for you, and all sorts of other stuff. But people are worried because actually the Amazon people are listening, and according to Bloomberg News, whistleblowers recently said they, as Amazon employees, had listened in on Siri recordings and Alexa activations that inadvertently recorded couples having sex and criminals making drug deals. Another publication.
Both at the same time, as a matter of fact.
Could be. A Google subcontractor shared more than 1,000 excerpts from Google recordings, which journalists then used to identify some individuals. So it's kind of scary.
I remember journalists used to journalists got a hold of it.
Yeah, somehow. I don't know how. It's scary because you may remember, you probably had the same experience I did, Ken, that we were forced during school to read George Orwell's 1984. And in that futuristic world, I think he wrote it in 1948, and he flipped the numbers, so 48 became 1984. In the futuristic world, there were all these screens and microphones. There was no privacy, and people would have to really whisper it if they wanted.
Kind of like the Truman Show.
Same kind of thing. So isn't that kind of where we're at with Alexa? I mean, it's a wonderful technological tool.
Every microphone is hot. Testing,
That's
1, 2, 3.
That's right.
Seriously.
I think maybe if you're worried about that, don't buy Alexa.
Well, at a radio station, you always have to assume every microphone is hot. Now you have to do it in your house?
Yeah, but people don't assume that. I mean, you and I have both had the experience of being off the air during a commercial.
If you have to go to the restroom, you still might be on the air? I mean, it's...
Well, if you're Leslie Nielsen in the Naked Gun movie, sure.
Oh, well, okay.
And then, of course, it could be very embarrassing. There are ways to opt out of the human vetting. You can open the Alexa app on your smartphone and tap Settings and select Alexa Privacy. Good luck. I wouldn't know how to do that. Tom Steyer.
This is why we don't have Alexa at our... Anyway.
So Tom Steyer is joining the parade. He's a big progressive, hates Donald Trump's guts, and he wants to be president. I guess he's on track to be one of the 10 people in the ABC presidential debate coming up in a week or two. I think
Steyer's going to be on it?
Yeah, I think so. So what he did this week, though, he may have shown himself to be a big fat liar because he said, I've been called for jury duty in San Francisco, and I'm going to show up and do my duty. I'm going to show up. It's part of a week-long summons. Well, here's how it works. You show up for a week, you call in, and the court says you do have to show up for 1 to 5 days. And that's not the end of it, Tom Steyer. If you get picked to be on the jury, and if the case lasts a week or a month or a year, then you have to be on the jury for a week or a month or a year. Now,
Can't really run for president.
Exactly. You can't run for president. So he says, I'm doing my civic duty by showing up. But if they said to him, oh, good news, Tom, you're going to be on this 3.5-week burglary trial, so you report to the Hayward office, and he'd say, no, I'm going to go campaign. I'm going to go debate in Atlanta or whatever. So I think maybe he wasn't being entirely honest when he said he was showing up for jury duty.
Yeah.
So the national pastime isn't baseball anymore. It's football. But let's refer to it as baseball, because it's baseball time out there. The Yankees and the Dodgers are rolling around in the dust, as Vin Scully used to say at Dodger Stadium. And so baseball's in the news. We have robot umpires. Literally, you have home plate umpires that have an Apple device in their ear, and the computer tells them if it's a ball or strike. So Ken Jeffries, king of the world, do you say yes or no
Just call me the chosen one. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't like it.
Why? Because you want human error? You know, studies say that umpires are wrong about 10 or 15% of the time.
Don't like
and computers are never wrong.
I still don't like it.
So you're in favor. You're in favor of blown calls for these poor guys whose careers will be ruined. Remember, there was a perfect game spoiled.
Yes,
on
I know.
Jim
Joyce was the umpire.
Yeah, 27th out of the perfect game, and the umpire calls the guy safe, and the replay showed he was out by like a foot.
I know. I saw it.
Yeah, and so the poor pitcher's life was ruined. But we're purists. We love this stuff. Hey, folks, have a great week. See you next week on The Royal Oak Show.
Which was most important because that was your theme.
Are you tired of hearing your favorite talk radio shows sound like this? What if you could hear your favorite shows in crystal clear, high-definition digital sound? Well, with CRN Digital Talk Radio's 6 definition radio, you can now hear all of your favorite hosts like you've